Hey, what's going on, guys? Matt Allen here. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin. Today, we're talking grass fishing. But before we do, quick update for you. I just got off the water. I got a call from Tim. You know, we've been running this underwater series for a little while, just knocking out a bunch of that amazing content, looking at giant fish, looking at underwater behavior. We were going to take a quick break from that, but I got this call from Tim. Turns out he's at the hospital today. Tim is perfectly fine. One of his kids had an allergic reaction, so they ended up down at the hospital to take care of that. He's doing totally fine. Poor little guy, his lips are all puffed up, but he's good. So we're gonna jump into this grass video for a day. Then the next video, well, I might as well just tell you, Tim stuck a giant. And by giant, I'm talking, Tim stuck a new PB. So pay attention to the next video. You guys are really gonna enjoy that. But in the meantime, we're gonna talk grass fishing. A couple of really quick tips for you with this. I know we're just breaking right out of the underwater footage, but circumstances required it. So we're gonna change subjects, talk about something that's relevant right now, then show you that monster, and then we'll go from there. So, grass fishing. Something that will make a huge difference for you if you're willing to apply this. If your lake is anything like ours, that spawn ends, grass is already growing. It just gets worse and worse and worse and worse going into summer. When that happens, you start losing techniques, right? Something that we love to do, and this is just an example. You can apply this methodology to anything. But I'm gonna talk about the lipless really quickly because we don't necessarily think of a lipless as a grass bait. The lipless crank. That's a bait that Tim and I both absolutely love. But once we start getting a ton of grass in the lake, for the most part, you can't throw it, especially the way we like to fish it. We love fishing that thing on bottom, hanging it up in that little bit of grass. But once that grass gets nasty, you're kind of up a creek and you got to turn to other methods. Or do you? And that is what this is about. So what I want to explain to you guys is something you may or may not have ever considered. First off, this is my primary lipless rod. It's a Loomis CBR 845. They make it in a couple of different lines. We'll give you links to all this stuff down in the video description because this is about to get really product heavy. And you guys don't have to use the stuff I use, but we'll give you links to everything so you can look at it and understand what I'm using and why I'm using it. And Tim and I both use the exact same rods for this stuff. So first off, this is the baddest lipless rod I have ever fished, and I have fished a lot of crank rods. CBR 845 paired with a Corrado 70 is just insane. I mean, I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's insane. For my traditional lipless fishing, I take my lipless, I pair it with a Gamakatsu EWG. For that particular bait, that's an LV500, I pair it with a size 4. And I almost can't shake the fish off. This rod has an incredible amount of flex. I mean, when you hook a big one, you really load up on them, it flexes all the way to the handle, which is amazing. It's so hard for those fish to get off that thing. But when we start having grass in the lake, it turns into a nightmare. The reason why is that rod flexes so deep that when I start hanging up in that grass and I try and rip it free, I'm just loading that rod, and I can't snap it enough to clear that grass. As the grass gets worse from there, I mean, it gets to where it's uncomfortable to fish, and then it goes to where it's impossible to fish. So your option is either set that lipless down, and this applies to lipless, it applies to square bills, chatterbaits, I mean, just about anything you want to throw. And you can take this and you can apply it to your jig fishing, your worm fishing, everything, the methodology. But these specific products, this is going to apply mostly to square billing and to lipless fishing. So what do I do when that grass gets so bad that I can't use my favorite rod? I immediately step up. I jump up to a Zodius 7-foot medium and then a medium heavy. So no longer a crankbait rod. I go to an actual traditional fast tapered rod. 7 foot seems to be the right length because there's not a ton of rod there, so I could still just snap and get a good clean crisp break through those weeds and really rip it free. So the idea is that by going to that stouter rod, you can blow it through that grass easier and you can clear it. Even really heavy grass with the right rod, you can smash that thing, give it a full hook set, blow all the grass off, and you're good to go and you can continue your retrieve. Whether that's bottom hopping or just a regular retrieve, catch in the grass, rip it free, continue. Because we all know when you rip it free, that triggers bites. That's a huge deal, but that grass gets so bad you can't do it anymore. You can't rip free, you just get stuck. So I go to that 7-foot medium, then medium heavy. But most important, I drop that Gamakatsu hook. That EWG, it's gone. I go to an Owner 3X. And again, video description, I'll give you all this stuff so it's not confusing. But I step up to this hook, that's hook number 2. Reason why is when you leave that crankbait action, that parabolic action, now you've got a problem on your hands. Lipless, they get thrown really easily because they're a very heavy bait for their size. The fish can shake their heads and spit them. So by going to that stronger hook, you can put a lot more pressure on that fish and keep them pegged. With both the lipless and the square bill, you go to that 3X Owner, it's got a little bit of a tip in, which helps keep them pegged, and then a lot stronger wire so you can really jack them. I'm also increasing my line. So I go braid to leader. If you're a fluoro, that's fine too, but you know, on that CBR 845, I'm throwing anywhere between 10 and 15 pound leader. So if you're a fluoro guy, 10 to 15 pound fluoro. When I step up to that no longer a crankbait rod, that Zodiac 7-foot medium or that 7-foot medium heavy, then I step up my line size also. I go 17 or 20 on that leader. The reason for that is obviously, so because I'm putting so much more pressure on it, I need the strength, but also you're getting into so much more grass that it's not really a visibility issue anymore. There's so much in the water that they're listening to that bait more than they're seeing it, and that line doesn't seem to matter at all. The fish aren't line shy anymore. So grass keeps growing, right? Here we are in June. The grass has grown. It's gotten bad. We take it one step further. I go all the way to this rod. This is a Dobbins. This is a rod I've used for a long time. The 784C. I mean, we've been throwing jigs on this thing for years and years and years, and we still use it. It's a stout rod. It's not a flipping stick, but it is a full-blown jig rod. Now, why do I go to this one? 784, that's a 7'8" 4-power. It's a long rod. The reason why I do that is now we're talking nasty grass, thick stuff. Places where you look out at the lake and you go, you can't throw a lipless in that. You can't throw a square bill in that. It's gonna catch every 2 feet. Well, you can still throw it. You go to a rod like this, tons of backbone. I hang that thing up and I blow it through. I mean, full hook set, smash that thing. Because if you rip it hard enough, you will clear it. But there are some other things that you need to adjust as well. If you're a fluoro guy, it's time to stop. If you're a braid guy, it's time to go to a different line. So what I do, I take that 784 and I pair it up. The line I prefer is Power Pro Max Quattro. Reason why it's thin for its size, and it has a low carrier count, meaning that it's a fairly abrasive line. So when you're really slamming it, it's almost like a saw cutting its way through the grass. It'll blow through the grass. So I forget my leader. By the time I get to throwing a lipless on this rod, my leader is out the window. I'm throwing straight braid. 50 or 65 pound, low carrier count, very thin, strong line so that I can smash that hook set to clear that bait. Again, the grass has gotten so nasty out here now. I mean, we're in 10, 12 feet of water. We got grass a foot under the surface, and we're throwing a lipless in that stuff. You really have to rip it free. So where's the weak point? Your hook. So again, we'd already got rid of that Gamakatsu. Now we've gone to that Owner 3X. Now we get rid of that Owner 3X. We go to this hook. This is an ugly hook. I mean, let's be plain. We're bass fishermen. Bass fishermen hate silver hooks, right? But by the time you get into this much grass, it doesn't matter. This is another owner. I'm probably gonna get this wrong. I think it's the STX 58. I think. It's a Zoe-wire hook. What's that mean to you and me? And by the way, again, video description, I've said that like 10 times. If I'm wrong, it will be right down there. So whatever model this is, I will get it right. But still size 4 for that LV500, size 2 for that Biggie Lipless, or I'm sorry, for that Biggie Square Bill. When you go to that Zoe-wire, this thing is strong. I'm talking way strong for its size. It's not even that thick of a diameter hook. It is strong. So that's what I pair up. Straight braid, blast it through that grass. And when you hook up, this is no longer that casual, let's play them out on a lipless. Right, when I get them on that CBR 845, I back that drag off, that rod is folded in half, and I just let that fish play, and they never come off. But once that grass gets bad, once I've found my way all the way here, I smash them, drag is virtually locked. And it's an all-out, I mean the opposite of how you would normally fish it. It's like you're flipping or frogging, and all-out grind them to the boat. That hook will take it, and that's why you use that. I hope this makes sense to you guys. I'm not saying that this is the ideal lipless rod. I'm saying that 2 months after everybody else has quit throwing one, you can still throw one, and you will find out that your fish are still eating it, and now you're the only guy on the lake throwing it. Again, you can apply this to lipless, you can apply it to square bills, chatterbaits. You can take the concept and apply it to your jig fishing. You got a stouter rod, stronger line, stronger hook, and you work your way up your jigs. Whatever your favorite jig is, you go to a stronger hook. If you're a Texas rigger, if you like worming, whatever it may be, you coordinate your rod to your line to your hook, and no matter what the conditions do, no matter how bad it gets going into summer, you can absolutely still fish the way you want to fish, still fish your favorite methods, your big fish methods, and you can fish them when everyone else has already given up on doing it. I hope that makes sense. I know a bunch of you guys are going to take this and apply it and smash them this summer, and I'm excited about it. Like I said at the beginning of the video, the next video you do not want to miss. Tim got her done. It's going to be a good video. Cast to catch, the whole thing is pretty awesome. We'll talk to you soon. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you.